This is a famous little
This is the Sconset Chapel. Once again, this was built by Charles Robinson. You can see once again the Gothic Revival style.
Yes.
And originally it had a second steeple on this side, a smaller one.
Okay.
This was 1883, and it was part of the ecumenical movement, which was to sort of combine all the Protestant faith churches in the New England villages, really, I guess, across the country, into one structure, so these small towns wouldn't have to have, Methodist, Episcopal, blah, 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 blah.
So is it on its own totally? Is it affiliated with any other church on the island? This one?
Only in the sense that, and I think this is unique to this church, they have Catholic services here too.
Okay.
And the Catholic services are, I think, 8:30 in the morning, and the Protestant services are 10:30, and they basically start around Memorial Day and go through around Columbus Day.
Now, how long has this guy's been around? As long as I've been on Nantucket.
Yeah, this was
Sconset Woodman. There's a bit of history.
Yeah, well, he actually, if you go down here,
look at all that wood.
Well, this is interesting. He's also an electrician, as is his son Jonathan, and he's kind of the village electrician, and really educated, erudite guy, great friend of mine.
Look at that! I've never been down here.
This structure that is now his Jonathan's electrical and Skip's electric workshop.
Yeah.
This was the original Sconset School. And it was around the corner. I believe it to. I may be wrong here, but I believe it to have been built in the 1840s and maybe 1860s. But this was the Sconset School.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It looks like a school.
Yeah, and it was around the corner on the site of what is now the Sconset Fire Station.
And so he's got to bring. I mean, obviously, he's got to bring all this wood over.
Yeah, it gets shipped over, and then he'll get people to help him split it all up. And I've never been asked to do it, but you can get free firewood by helping.
Was he here when you got here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He owned a pizza place in town, and he was also a math teacher at the high school.
So cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And a lot of the people, everything changes because people die and you have inheritance issues and all that. But a lot of the old school people are still here. This was the new school. This was the site of the original schoolhouse. That they sold it for like $150 or something. And I believe, I should know this, I think it was around 1916. And they built this new school. The town paid for it. And then it was in force as a school until the early 1960s when the school committee voted to discontinue having Sconset School. But there's just so many things to learn out here. I mean, one of the places we drove by was the former site of the School of Opinion. It was called the Tavern on the Moors, and the School of Opinion was put on by a guy who was a socialist, and they'd have people like Upton Sinclair and Sinclair Lewis and
wow.
It was Marconi was out here, the inventor. In fact, the house on Main Street, which was just redone, was the site of the original Marconi telegraph, and it supposedly received the first transatlantic transmission and also received the distress signal from the Titanic. And they also used, apparently, they would get when the New York set was here during the early 20th century, they would get New York baseball scores.
And that's the thing about this particular town on this particular island 30 miles out at sea. It faces east. The next stop is the Azores or Europe, pretty much from here.
They used to have a sign when they had the gas station that said, "Fill up now, no more gas till Spain."
Yeah, exactly. It's cool. I love that. I like places like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down this way.
Yeah.
Just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
And this is the newer part of
it's interspersed. I mean, a lot of these houses, like the one on our left right there, I mean, a lot of these houses go back to the 40s or earlier. But this is where new places are being built.
And are they putting pools in a lot here too?
Yes.
They are.
And
it's the new wave. As a Sconseter, you're not very happy about it.
Not so much. I mean, if you can't see the pool or hear it or whatever, it's not a problem. But
you're going to hear
it's just a huge.
There's kids around.
It's also just a huge carbon footprint issue, and it's just a lifestyle choice that I think, you wonder how much you need to be happy. I mean.
Now we could go into that.
Now here ahead of us, Gino, this is multiflora. This house was built I guess I can't remember exactly. This is probably an 1880s house, and the one behind it is Sankaty Lodge.
I'm going to go straight.
Yeah,
That's Baxter Road there,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and
who was Baxter, by the way?
Baxter, well, I believe he was named for Billy Baxter, who was, we mentioned, the Wisconsin Post
Not
Office.
to be confused with Billy Dexter.
No. We don't, no, he wasn't. No, we want
He's not part of Wisconsin, right?
No,
he was more. He was from the other place.
But anyway, now here's a cool house, the Davis house.
Oh, I used to paint that place.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. When I was painting, I painted that place.
Well,
and man, it was always in need of painting. They had us do one part at a time because it was such a. Look at it.
It was
holy.
That's an 1885 house. The guy that built
it still needs a paint job.
Oh yeah, the guy that built it was apparently a Detroit businessman, or I think Detroit businessman, and it's such a beautiful building.
It really is. I mean, look where it sits too.
Yeah, it's and it originally had where you see that tower on the left-hand side where it has like a boarded-over window.
Yes.
That was originally, believe it or not, that was 2 stories taller, and it had a viewing platform on the top where you could look out. I mean, it was it was originally probably about 40 feet tall.
Incredible.
And you wonder if somebody, if someday somebody restores it, and they wanted to replace that tower to the original, if the HTC would let them. I don't know.
Probably would.
I've actually got a photograph of it. But it's
to paint this place too.
The old part of it,
place.
or that one? Yeah.
Yeah. This was always a problem though, but now they redid everything and it looks good.
Yeah. And these houses, the older ones, go back to late.
But you can't walk along here anymore.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Okay, this is still open.
Yeah, this is still open. I mean, it's kind of a well-guarded secret, and I don't think people should tour along it or anything. But
I think everybody knows.
The reason originally it was laid out because when these houses were built, there were no automobiles. I mean, this would have been the back side.
Yeah.
So when you wanted to go to your house, you walked up that path.
Yeah.
This one was called the Braze, built in the 1800s, and that was totally done over. It used to belong to friends of mine, and I remember they had a potluck supper when they sold it. The owner, Mal Perry, was a great guy. He said, "This will be the last damn potluck supper they ever have at this house." And this one here, Captain's Cabin, belonged to a famous actress, Isabel Irving, and her actor husband, being William Thompson, and they were quite famous in the theater.
So when you do your tours, where do people meet you?
Downtown.
Right down
there.
there.
Yeah.
And have you done any this year yet? I mean,
I'm just going to getting started. I mean, it's well, as you can see, who's out here.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, it's once in a while,
Are they all? Are a lot of these vacation rentals?
Yeah,
they have.
A lot of them. It's funny. A lot of them don't get rented. They just don't get used all the time.
I see.
I mean, what's changed, of course, and this is not a derogatory comment or anything like that. Just that when these houses change hands now, they're so expensive that it's not as though some upper middle class family from Connecticut, is going to buy them. I mean,
or even rent. They don't even need to rent them. The people that own them don't have to rent them.
Yeah, I mean, these houses, they sell for astronomical amounts of money. I mean,
even with the erosion.
Well, the erosion, where we are right now, the erosion isn't really an issue. I mean,
because of the
there's a pretty wide beach here and a pretty gentle slope. It's right around here.
Oh yeah.
You began to see it. This house was just moved a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember. I used to paint this place.
And so I mean, we're getting now to the point where
this is Hostetler.
Yeah, and this house, the next one up with a mansard roof, was built by William Flagg's wife. Now, William Flagg was the guy that did the original subdivision of Baxter Road. And you asked about Baxter. Billy Baxter was married to, he was kind of the town crier and unofficial postmaster, and he was married to Love Carey, who owned the Shenunga House. And this house belonged to Nat Benchley, and the humorous writer. And on your left here, that was his writing studio.
That was? Look what they've done to that.
That's where he wrote The Off Islanders, which was turned into the movie The Russians Are Coming.
He wrote it right in there.
Yep, well, presumably. Maybe he wrote it when it was on the mainland. Who knows?
Well...
And he was here with a group of people.
That's beautiful. I like that.
His brother or father was Robert Benchley, the famous New Yorker, the famous humorist, and they all palled around with John Steinbeck and so forth. Steinbeck was out here and wrote East of Eden or did the finish work on East of Eden here on Baxter Road.
That's right. I heard that.
Now these two here, these are two of the older houses, Canapatch and the Mayflower. You can see the Mayflower's got that beautiful kind of real shingle style with shingles instead of trim.
Yeah, look at that. We have to show folks.
So there's actually photographs of this being built. It's I can't quote the exact date for you. I mean, I don't do tours obviously here, so. But yeah,
they're never going to change. I mean, they're not going to change that roof. That roof is.
I think the family. I might be mistaken, but I believe the family that owns this now is the descendants of the original owner. Man. They've had it for a long time, at any rate.
And where's your place anyway? Where are you staying?
I sold my house.
Oh yeah, but you're living here. Where's Benchley's place?
You go up here and take a left.
Oh, I see. Oh, they don't live on the main street.
I probably shouldn't talk about Rob's life, but they moved their house from Baxter Road to some other property they had a few years ago.
Got it.
Now this
place is kind of cool, right?
This is really cool. I forget the name of the style, but it's a unique like 1950s, 60s style.
50s, 60s.
And it was
definitely
John, the guy that owns it, reconfigured it a few years ago to make it more true to the form. We used to call it the Motel 6.
I like it.
But oh yeah, it's cool.
I like it.
This one right here was from here on up.
Yeah.
All these houses have been moved.
Yes. And they're all in trouble again, right? Or
well, these ones in this little area along here have the jute bags and whatnot in front of them, so it's stabilized. But of course, these folks are having to pay some pretty significant money to keep that going. You probably want, unless you want to go all the way up, you might want to turn around and go take
I'm going to bring you back.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't turn up here. You can turn the left on the dirt road.
There's not another road.
Oh, no. I see. Okay. Let me spin around over here.
But where we are right now, this is where the erosion is really most severe.
Well, let's just drive over here then, real quick. I have not. Oh, so they did lose a house over here. They have.
These houses were all moved, and there's a few up. Well, there's obviously the one right in front of us, and up at the end there's two or three that are. Well, look, you can pull in here just so I can show people. Oh no, I can't. It's closed. But this is where,
if we could, you'd
look over the edge and you'd see these gigantic, what they call, I think, jute bags. They're enormous. They're like a heavy burlap. They're filled with sand.
Yeah, they're filled with sand.
And then they pour sand over the edge to replenish it whenever there's a nor'easter.
Right.
But once again, it's
controversial.
Well,
what do you think? I mean, you live out here.
Actually, the only thing that makes it controversial is the amount of trucks bringing sand out here has been really hard on the roads.
Right.
I mean, these folks are paying for it, so it's their, it's their houses and their money.
Some people don't like that they're taking sand from somewhere else and throwing it in this area.
It's really.
And it is a public beach, but I don't know how many people use it.
No,
I don't think many people.
Nobody bathes there. People walk up and down.
Yeah.
This house, for instance, was moved across the street.
Okay. Yes.
About I think it's probably 17 years ago.
Smart. But boy, is it going quick, huh?
Well, see, the problem too is that if it gets to within a certain footage of the road, by law, the road must be condemned.
Yes.
And then the access will have to be from the other side, and whose land is that going to go through with Sankaty Golf Club and so on. I mean, these houses are just literally teetering on the edge.
They really are.
We built this. Tom David, the one of one-handed pepper grinder fame, and I built this house on the left in 1983.
That one on the left?
Yeah, that was the first house really on that side of the street up here. And I remember.
There's the old. We built old lighthouse.
Yeah.
There's the golf course.
Built that house in 1983, and I think it was. I think we built it for like $100,000 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool house. It's all natural wood on the inside.
Beautiful.
Belongs to Dick McKay, who does the Nantucket calendars.
Nice. What a great view too.
Oh yeah, you can't beat.
To have the ocean on one side, you can hear that.
Oh yeah.
And then have that as a view. Wow.
One of the really unique things about living on an island, and you really hear it out here, when the wind is right at night, especially in the wintertime. To hear that ocean roar, it really reminds you where you are. That you're not living in the suburbs somewhere.
No, you are not.
You're really living with the ocean. Well, this is a lot of fun, Gino.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for sharing what you do with us, and
thanks for.
I think a lot of people are going to find this very interesting. I certainly did.
Well,
I learned a lot.
Well, thanks, and it's fun, and anytime you live somewhere for a long time, you get familiar with it, and it's also thanks for taking such an interest in the lacrosse program. It's I know, and I know your son plays, so
he does. But I also think that you're a very good announcer. If you don't end up being a coach at some prestigious college, you'll probably end up as an announcer somewhere.
Well, I'm a little too old for that, I think, but yeah.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen Hubie Brown calling a game?
Yeah.
I'm listening to him the other night. He is up there, man.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun calling the games. It keeps you involved, and
definitely.
And that game today,
kids, it means a lot to the kids too.
That game today was really a lot of fun. I was really impressed with our team, and Coach Aloisi's done. I mean, he came on board when I was coaching. He took over the JV, and then he was kind of thrust into the limelight in not such a great situation the following year, and he just took the bull by the horns and led that team to the playoffs, and has gone to every playoff since.
Where is it? Over here?
Yeah, it's about 2 blocks down.
Okay.
I have to go in and see.
This one here?
Yep. I have to go in and see Oliver, my little pal.
You take care of the house when they're not around?
Yeah, Oliver's here. Their little dog. He's a poodle cocker spaniel cross. He's
nice.
Quite entertaining. He's about 100 years old, but he hasn't slowed down. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I've got about 20 plus dogs that I take care of out here.
Do you? You do that too?
Yeah.
So
I love dogs.
So for a living, you do the tours. You work a little bit for me doing this. You do you do dog sitting.
I still do have my hand
some painting?
and carpentry.
And a little bit.
I mean, Rob and I get together and do stuff for people.
And you're doing okay? You still like it? You never think about leaving?
Oh, I think about leaving because I have.
But where would you go? Baltimore?
I've looked at places in Maine. I've looked at places in South Carolina. I mean, when I can't do what I'm doing, effectively anymore, I think I probably would, because I, have money invested, but it just can't buy back in here. Obviously.
No, right, no.
So, there are you see these little towns. I mean, some of my good friends moved to South Carolina a few years ago, and you should see where they live. I
know guys that live there.
And the thing is, now some of those places you can make a living in.
Well, if you get Social Security, you're all set.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the key.
I'm never going to get a ton of it, but I'll get some. I mean, also I imagine. I come from some of my family is not so long lived, but I have some people in my family that live to be like 104.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, on both sides.
So you got some nice Social Security coming.
On both sides. We'll see. All right, Gino.
All right, buddy.
Thanks again, man.
Thanks, Rick. Don't forget your groceries.
I won't.